Mold can be stopped permanently, not managed, not sprayed twice a year, but stopped. And in most homes, it takes 10 minutes a day. Here is the first one, and you can do it before this video ends. Go to whichever room smells closed up, open the window as wide as it goes, and at the same time, open a window or door on the opposite side of the house. Leave both open for 10 minutes, then shut them, not cracked open all day. We call it vädring, which just means airing, and it works because a hard blast of moving air swaps the wet air in a room for dry air without cooling the walls. The walls hold the heat while the air carries the water out, so 10 minutes later, the room is warm again and several liters lighter. A window cracked open all day does the opposite, chilling the surfaces without ever exchanging the air, the exact condition mold is waiting for. That is one of 9, and not even the biggest. None of the others involve buying a spray either. This isn't because we are cleaner than you. It is because mold is common where I grew up. Cold outside, warm inside, dark for months. And if you do not handle water in a Nordic house, the house tells you within a single winter. I am Ingrid, and my mother did every one of these without once calling it mold prevention. It was just what you did with a window. So here is the list. The airing, the pan lids, the laundry, the shower screen, the bathroom fan, the furniture against the outside wall, the bedroom, the one number worth watching, and the cold spot. 9 things, most of them free, and together they end this for good. I am saving number 1 until the end, because it isn't really a habit. It is the thing the other 8 are working towards, and once somebody points it out, you cannot stop seeing it. One thing before we start. The Nordic habits I cover on this channel, there is far too much of it to fit into any single video, so I put the whole of it in one place, 150 of them, sorted by room and by rhythm. It is on my site, with the link right under this video. I won't bring it up again. If you want it, you know where it is. Number 9. The airing twice a day. I opened with this one, so here is the part I left out. It happens morning and evening rather than once, and cross-draught is what makes it fast. Windows open on 2 sides, so the air moves through rather than sitting there. Korsdrag, we call it, and 10 minutes does more than an hour with a single window open. 2 adults asleep in a closed bedroom put liters of water into it overnight from nothing but breathing, and then you add a shower, a wash, and a pan of pasta on top. This replaces the dehumidifier that people buy in a panic, run for a fortnight, and then put in a cupboard. Your test tonight: open 2 windows on opposite sides of the house for 10 minutes before bed, then in the morning look at the inside of the bedroom window. Less water on the glass, the whole mechanism made visible. Number 8. Put a lid on the pan. In most homes, a pan boils uncovered for 20 minutes, and every bit of that steam condenses on the walls, the ceiling, and the windows. We cook with lids on, and not for the cooking, for the water. It stays invisible as a problem because steam doesn't look like damp. It looks like dinner. So the lid goes on, the extractor goes on, or the kitchen window sits open a hand's width while you cook and for 10 minutes after. This replaces the anti-mold paint people buy for kitchen ceilings, which covers the stain and does nothing about the steam that made it. Your test tonight: next time you boil anything, put the lid on and look at your kitchen window as you serve up. If it is normally streaming and tonight it is clear, you have just found several liters a week you didn't know about. Number 7. Never dry laundry in a closed room. A single load of wet washing holds roughly 2 liters of water, and hung on a rack in a closed bedroom, all 2 of those liters go into the air and eventually onto whichever surface is coldest. This is the most common cause of bedroom mold I know of, and almost nobody connects the two because it only shows up in a corner 3 weeks later. We dry laundry with the window open, or the door shut and the window cracked, so the moisture leaves the house rather than wandering round it. Outdoors whenever it isn't raining, because cold, dry air dries washing well. This replaces the tumble dryer people buy, because the flat keeps getting damp. Your test tonight: if you have washing drying indoors right now, go and open the window in that room. That's the whole task. Number 6. Squeegee the shower screen. It takes 10 seconds while you are still standing there, and without it, every shower leaves a film of water on the glass and tiles in a warm, windowless room for hours. Bathroom mold is almost entirely a question of how long surfaces stay wet, rather than how dirty they are, So we squeegee the screen and wipe the glass with the cloth that lives in that bathroom. This replaces the mold spray under your sink and possibly the black silicone you were planning to replace. Your test tonight: squeegee the screen after your shower, then go back 20 minutes later and put your hand flat on the glass. It will be dry, and it would not have been otherwise. Number 5. Run the fan after, not during. Most people switch the extractor on as they get into the shower and off as they get out, which is exactly backwards. While the shower runs, that fan is fighting a live tap and losing. The water that causes your problem is what gets left on the walls and floor after you have gone. So we leave it running 20 minutes afterwards with the door shut, and if there is no fan, the window goes wide open for 10 minutes instead, so the wet air leaves the building rather than drifting into the hall to find somewhere colder. This replaces the bathroom repaint people schedule when the ceiling goes gray. Your test tonight: leave the fan running for 20 minutes after your shower with the door closed, then come back and smell the room. Let me stop the list there for a moment because you may already have spotted the pattern. Not one of those 5 has anything to do with cleaning. Every one is about water and where it lands. Mold is not dirt, and it is not evidence that you are a slovenly person. It is a plant with very simple requirements, and the only one you control is moisture. Take the water away and it leaves permanently. However dirty the surface, leave the water and it comes back on a surgically clean wall. Hold on to that, because the last 4 are all built directly on top of it. Quick pause before those last 4. Everything here is one part of Section 2 of the guide. There are 9 sections, and the one people write to me about most is Section 4, what happens in the 10 minutes before bed. Linked below. Now, number 4. Number 4. Pull the furniture off the outside wall. Put your hand flat against the wall behind your wardrobe or sofa, assuming it faces outside, and you will feel it is colder than the rest of the room. Warm, wet air arrives there, cools, and can no longer hold the water it was carrying, so the water comes out onto the wall, and behind a wardrobe nothing is moving to take it away. So we leave 5 to 10 centimeters between any large piece of furniture and an external wall, and never push a wardrobe flat into a cold corner. This replaces the anti-mold paint, and in bad cases, the ruined wardrobe. Your test tonight: pull one large piece of furniture 5 centimeters away from an outside wall and have a proper look at the back of it. Number 3. The bedroom. Every morning. The duvet gets thrown right back the moment you get up, the window goes open, and the bed is left standing open for half an hour before anybody makes it. Everything your body released overnight is in that bedding, and pulling the duvet up straight away seals it into the mattress, a very large object that otherwise never gets aired. This replaces the mattress you would be replacing in 5 years. Your test tonight: throw the duvet right back tomorrow morning and leave the window open while you have your coffee, then make the bed when you come back to it. Number 2. Buy the 2-pound thermometer. Not a dehumidifier, a hygrometer, the little digital thing showing temperature and humidity together. Everything else here involves guessing about something you cannot see, and a hygrometer turns that whole problem into one number on a shelf. What you want is relative humidity between 40 and 60%. Above 60 and you are in mold conditions. Above 70 and you will get mold on whichever surface in that room is coldest. This replaces every guess you have made about whether the house feels damp. Your test tonight: put one in the room that has had the mold, then look after a shower and again after airing. You will watch the number move, and after that, none of this is theoretical. And number 1, find the cold spot. This is the one that isn't a habit, and it is what the other 8 have been working towards. Mold does not grow where a room is wet. It grows where a room is coldest, because that is where water comes back out of the air. Every mold patch you have ever had was telling you the location of a cold surface. So go and find the coldest square meter in each room, behind the wardrobe on the outside wall, the top corner of a north-facing room, along the window reveal, the cupboard under the stairs, under the kitchen sink, the skirting behind the sofa. That is where mold starts and where it returns, and it will keep returning until either that surface gets warmer or the air in front of it gets drier. Every item on this list either takes water out of the air or stops it landing on something cold, which is why this last one makes the other 8 permanent. You can do the airing and the lids and the laundry faithfully for a year, but if a sofa is still pushed against a cold wall, all you have done is move the problem somewhere you cannot see it. One honest thing before we finish. Everything here is about preventing mold and dealing with a small patch, something you could cover with a sheet of paper. If you have more than that, or it keeps returning after you have done all of this, it is not a habit problem, that is water getting in from somewhere, and it needs a person who can find it. If anybody in the house has asthma, a lung condition, or a weakened immune system, don't clean mold yourself. Never dry brush or sand a moldy surface, because that puts spores into the air you are breathing, and never mix bleach with any other cleaner. Here is what I want you to know about why nobody ever taught you this. Walk into any supermarket, and there is a shelf of mold sprays waiting for you. They work, in the sense that they take the black off the silicone and the wall looks fixed for 6 weeks. But look at what that product solves. It removes the stain, and not one drop of the water that made it, so it comes back, and you buy the spray again, which is not the product failing you. That is the product working exactly as designed. There is no bottle anyone can sell you for opening a window, and no margin at all in a lid on a pan. Nobody will run an advertising campaign about pulling your sofa 5 centimeters off the wall, because there is nothing in it for anybody. So you were sold a cleaning problem when what you had the whole time was a water problem. It is not an accident that you believed mold was about hygiene, and it is not your fault. It is just where the money happens to be. You don't have to keep buying that spray. Tonight, do one thing rather than all 9. Open 2 windows on opposite sides of the house for 10 minutes before bed. Then tell me below, where is the cold spot in your house? Every house has one, and I would put money on you knowing exactly where yours is before I finished asking. Next time I am taking number 3, the bedroom, and going into why we sleep in a cold room, and what that does to everything else. 10 minutes of open window tonight, and a wall that stays dry for years. That is the trade.